Franzia. Yes, we have a story about Franzia, but not what you think. Washington grape growers helping our Canadian neighbors before they become a state or something. I don't know. And does alcohol cause cancer? Let the lawsuits begin. All that and more on this episode of This Week Uncorked. Hello and welcome to episode 28 of This Week Uncorked for Monday, January 27th, 2025. I got 2025 right, evidently on a previous show. I went back to 24, but we're actually in 2025. Hey, we're the number one source for Corkage fees, and we also have winery reviews and wine reviews, restaurant reviews, and you can find all that over at corkandjourney.com. I'm Brett Martin, and with that, we've got a big week, so let's get right on into the news. All right, well, this is not new news, evidently, but I just found it. I don't think it made any national press, but this happened back in December. So you may recall that Tina and I, we did a big road trip of the southernmost wine regions. We did New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas. We were covering those out. We live in Las Vegas, so there's a city called Pahrump, which is just about an hour from us here. It is Las Vegas's wine region. And I was thinking, well, it might be time to go over there and see what's over there. So in doing the research for it, I noticed a lot of the wineries there have closed. They're out of business. There are other things. So Sanders family winery halted operation back in December. And this is just too good. From the article, the police, on November 27th, we conducted an inspection and found that the deceptive practices were occurring. So someone had reported deceptive practices. He, Jack Sanders, was pouring Franzia wine into their own wine bottles and labeling it as their own product. We discovered several bottles and bags of Franzia wine in the dumpster out back with the plastic containers cut open and emptied. Franzia wine, I had to look this up, is actually box wine. It comes like 6 liters to a box, and it is about as bulk wine can get. And so evidently he decided that that would be a good wine to replace his wine with. I can only imagine what that wine must have tasted like if you're replacing with Franzia. But just absolutely fascinating. I'm surprised that, I don't know, there's a thing called shiners. So a lot of wine producers, they go out, they make wine, they end up with all kinds. You can buy barrels of wine in the barrel still ready to go. You can bottle it and sell it as your own. They also have shiners. These are things that were actually bottled in the cases, never labeled, and basically, they're kind of ready to go. Maybe the winery went out of business. Maybe they had too much production they couldn't sell. They just bottled it. They never got around to labeling it. You've got these huge inventories of shiners. If you go to winebusiness.com and you click on wine buy, there's a whole shiners bulk wine part right there as well. And there are a lot of wineries that actually do use shiners. I have a winery that I know, I won't name him. He only does red wine. Well, in his tasting room, a lot of people want white wine. So he basically reaches out and says, I want this, this, and this. And they send him all kinds of samples because there are just tons of these shiners available. And he will taste through them and go, this is a really decent Sauvignon Blanc. And they label it and they send him cases and cases of it. And he puts it in as if it's, his own wine. So he's got white wine in there to complement the reds that he actually does make. So evidently, this, I can't imagine just going to the grocery store, buying boxes of Franzia, pouring it into your bottles. One box would get you like 10 bottles, I think, and selling it out. But that's what happened over at Sanders Family Winery. And he said, I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. But, well, there you go. So I'm not sure if we're going to make it to Pahrump. I'm not even sure if there really is anything left over there. It used to be the wine region, but it appears to be gone. So anyway, moving on with the news. So let's talk sulfates. A lot of people think sulfates give them headaches. There's a lot of science that says it does. There's science that says it doesn't. There's like more sulfates in a freeze-dried apricot, dried apricot than there is in a bottle of wine. But there's a company out of Portugal called Chestnut, and they basically are using the male flower from the chestnut tree, and they find it has the same preservative effects on wine that you would get from just putting sulfates in. So more of a natural type of thing to put into the wine to preserve it. Ends up adding quite a bit of cost to the bottle, though, like anywhere from $3 to $5 a bottle. So maybe we'll see it in higher end wines. I'm sure a lot of testing is needed to be done. If you ever had a wine that didn't have sulfates added, that will turn on you in 2 to 3 years, guaranteed. It's just, you can have this most beautiful bottle of wine, then you go open it. If it never had sulfates, it'll turn. So I'm sure they need to run a lot of tests on this, but an interesting concept, and I wish them well. I hope maybe this is a good solution and a good alternative to sulfates. We will see. And now for a quick plug, I'd like to give a shout out to our friends over at SOMM TV. If you don't know, it's an app, goes on your Roku, goes on your Apple TV, goes on your Google TV. You can watch it on your laptop. You can watch it on your phone. It is just an entire TV station dedicated to wine and all things wine. Wine regions, blind tastings, you name it. They even have their own little show called Sparklers, which is like a little reality competition show. Fantastic. James Beard Award winning. Also, these are the people that made the movie SOMM, and there's 4 SOMM movies. Check them all out. So it was a link in our show notes, and if you click on that, you will get 50% off your monthly subscription to SOMM TV. So check that out. And quick shout out to Rex Pickett here. Head over to rexpickettbooks.com and use the code CORK10 to get 10% off your entire order over there. Rex will sign the books. He'll sign the posters. He'll do it for you as well. So thanks to both SOMM TV and Rex Pickett Books. And with that, we'll move into the rest of the news. So from Food and Wine Magazine, how U.S. wineries saved Canada's wine industry after a devastating freeze. This is the first I heard about this, but we've talked about it a lot on the show. Huge glut up in all over the place in grapes, but especially Washington, Oregon had a huge glut of grapes. A lot of their buyers backed out of their contracts because, as we've talked about, wine sales are declining a little bit. And so with that, at the same exact time, basically Canada had a massive freeze. They lost 90% of their crop due to freeze. No way to make wine. From the article, in a historic trade agreement between the U.S. and Canadian wine growers, Washington state shipped wineries massive amounts of American-grown grapes across the border. Despite all the outreach on part of U.S. growers, nevertheless, it took months for the Canadian government to allow local wines to be made from grapes outside the province without tax markups. Winemakers went ahead and cut the deals regardless. Ron Kubik of Lightning Rock Winery in Summerlin, a small community in Lake Okanagan, recalled Frank Roth, head winemaker for Togress Winery in Richland, Washington, and I went down to Lake Chelan and visited the wineries and vineyards. They could not have been more hospitable. The Washington State wine growers set up a wine grape dating service. I wish our government did 1% of what yours did. Ours did nothing. By July 25th, a lot of people already had their fruit contracts signed, but our government acted like idiots. That happens everywhere, my friend. But anyway, it appears they did get the deals cut. It just took months and months. And so a lot of Canadian wineries are able to make wine, albeit they're using Washington State grapes, but at least they have a product that they can put on the shelves, and be curious to compare some of those wines side by side when they're ready to go. And then wrapping up the news, the Oregonian has an article on personal injury powerhouse. Parker Waichman goes after alcohol industry over cancer. I've avoided talking about this story, but the U.S. Surgeon General's office basically wants to treat all alcohol as if it was cigarettes and put those kind of warnings on it. It's really interesting. If you follow this entire thing, wine is good for you, wine is bad for you. Wine in small amounts of moderation increases your lifespan. But then the Surgeon General came out and said any alcohol at all, period, is detrimental to your health and increases your risk of cancer. So what do? You get all the mass tort systems like you did with cigarettes and anything else like that, saying, well, the cigarette industry knew. Now they're saying the wine industry or the alcohol industry knew. It's going to be tough. One of the things that was interesting is a quote from this article that says, I can't imagine this kind of lawsuit will be easy to win or settle positively as the tobacco lawsuits were. The link between alcohol and cancer is far more tenuous than between tobacco and cancer. This is indicated by the wording of the Surgeon General's advisory, in which the word may is used many times. So it may cause this, it may do that. But we're not hearing the end of this. There's a huge alcohol kind of prohibitionist movement that's kind of sweeping the United States, sweeping a lot of the world. Hopefully, common sense prevails, alcohol in moderation, difference between distilled spirits and fermented spirits, such as wine. There's a whole bunch of differences, a whole bunch of nuance, and we will see where the chips fall over the next few years. But let the lawsuits begin. All right, and with that, let's move on to our wine and winery of the week. Let's go down to Paso Robles, California, or up and sideways for me, but maybe you're in Washington, you're going down. Who knows? Anyway, Paso Robles, Halter Ranch Winery. This is a gem in Paso. Not only do they have very good wines, but it is just probably the favorite winery in the area that we like to go see. Their tours are amazing. They've got an estate tasting, which runs around 90 minutes. They've got a cave and winery tour, which is what we did, which is a behind the scenes look at the caves with tasting all along the way. This is 2 to 2.5 hours to do that one. They've got a picnic pairing, but I will tell you that the entire facility is just absolutely amazing. The hosts are just excellent. The wines are very good to outstanding. It's just a winner all the way around. It's a billionaire owns it and has done quite a bit of renovation there and build out. So it is about as state-of-the-art a winery as you can find. The caves are amazing, dug into the side of the hill. Anyway, really worth your time. If you're in Paso, check out Halter Ranch. They're popping up everywhere, by the way. So anywhere there's wine country, you're seeing Halter Ranch. They went into Temecula, bought out a winery there, renamed it Halter Ranch. And they're actually working with a little bit of the Temecula fruit, but if you walk in, most of it is their fruit from Paso and a lot of their wines from Paso. But they're doing some interesting blends with the Temecula fruit, trying to see what they can get out of that. They went to Texas, to Fredericksburg, that whole area down there, that whole little wine trail down there. And they basically built a huge Halter Ranch tasting room there. No Texas wines, at least last when we were there, they were using any Texas fruit. It was really just their Paso stuff that was there at the time. I don't think there was any Temecula stuff. So they're kind of expanding out everywhere. But if you're in Paso, that's the home base. And check it out. You will not be disappointed. And for our wine of the week, we're going to head over to Italy, and we're going to talk about the 2019 Podere Campriano Chianti Classico Riserva. 92 points is what we rated it. It's $42, and it is just an excellent Sangiovese. Perfect. I will tell you, this is 100%. The aging process is a combination of 10 to 12 months in older oak barrels, followed by 12 to 14 months in stainless steel. This is a really good wine at $42. So, it's in that mid-tier pricing range, but really excellent wine. So easy to find, easy to get. You can find it pretty much anywhere. So if you get a chance, check out that wine. You will not be disappointed. And with that, let's head over to our restaurant and Corkage of the week. One of the things about living in Las Vegas is there is a foodie scene here. There are lots of restaurants. They are just everywhere. They're in every casino. They're on every corner. And a lot of them are just absolutely outstanding. Tina and I were seeing a Garth Brooks concert over at Caesar's Palace. And while we were there, we were kind of walking around. We said, let's get dinner beforehand. And just walked into Amalfi by Bobby Flay. This is a delight. Basically, fresh seafood doesn't get any better. You buy the fish and they prepare the whole fish for you. Really nice Italian coastal cuisine. It is just lovely, fantastic service, great ambiance. You cannot go wrong. So if you happen to be in Caesar's Palace, and you're wanting to say, hey, where should I eat? Are you in Las Vegas? Check out Amalfi by Bobby Flay. Fantastic. Corkage fee is $50 a bottle with a $3 max. Again, their wine list was actually on the upper end on the pricing scale, so you might want to bring your own bottle of wine into Amalfi. But Excellent choice if you're in Las Vegas. So with that, we're going to wrap up another episode of Cork and Journey. I want to thank everybody so much for joining us. And as always, we would love it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the reminder button to get notifications on our new videos. Also, please follow us on social media, Instagram, X, all of them. We would love that as well. All right, everybody, have a fantastic week and cheers.